Okay, so we are, and Lydia, did you receive the link I sent you yesterday?
I surely did, and I forwarded it to the team.
Okay, excellent. And just so you know, it was 62 megs, so just a little bit big to email, and that's why I converted it to the YouTube account and sent that off to you. Okay,
sure, that works perfectly fine.
Excellent. Glad to hear that. I apologize. Everybody, just give me one moment. Sorry about that, everybody. I get a call from my daughter about once every 2 weeks for pleasure purposes, and if she calls any time other than that, it's usually an emergency. So she's in Washington, D.C., I'm here in Los Angeles, so when I saw my phone ring and it was her, I had to grab it really quick, but she said no emergency and I could call her back later, so that's what we're going to do. All right. So moving on. We're going to click on the online button here, and that brings up this online store. Once again, we're talking about these 3 items: appointments online, gift cards or gift certificates online, and retail online. And appointments online really has 2 parts to it. The first part being the ability for the staff to check their schedule from any computer that has internet access, including their smartphone. It also has the ability for the spa's customers to book their own appointments online if the spa would like them to do so. So first thing we have to do is actually create the store. And the store has 4 different URLs. It has the main URL, which is the one right down here where it says your website address is. This is the main URL of the store. And so you could create a link, for instance, on perhaps the spa's website, or create a link on the spa's Facebook page or something like that that says something to the effect of, click here to visit our store, or something like that. Or you could use one of the individual URLs, like this one here under appointments, and create a button that might say something like, click here to book appointments online. Or this one here, click here to purchase gift certificates. Or this one, click here to purchase product from our spa. Okay, something like that. So each of them have their own separate URLs, but you don't need to use all of them. You could simply use this one, which will link to these 3 as well. So before we do any of that, we have to talk about what it's going to look like and how it's created. So the first thing we need to do when we go to this page, where we click on this button, which takes us to this Setup Online Store, is do just that. We have to set up the online store. So existing website address, we put in the spa's website address. Of course, if the spa does not have its own website address, we can put in the resort's address. That's fine. But you put in the business's website address. Here, next is the email address. Now, this email address can be left blank. However, what it does is it will, whatever email address you put here is where notifications will go if somebody actually makes, for instance, they book an appointment online or they make a purchase online. Then that email can be notified. Now you might say, well, why leave that blank? That's really important. We need to know. Well, you're going to know other ways. For instance, if somebody buys a gift certificate or gift card online, there is an alert right on the point of sale that tells you that an online purchase of a gift card has been made. If somebody books an appointment online, well, the appointment is there on your appointment book, and you'll be able to differentiate between it and appointments that were made by hand. So let's continue. Here, terms and conditions. You can put everything you want here. When you first look at this, this is just a big blank white square. So you type in whatever you want. On the bottom of the store, so let's take a look at the store. Well, let me actually go to the store here. On the bottom of the store, there is a line here. Let me make this a lot bigger so you can all see it. A little link here that says terms and conditions. Not much to it. You just click on that, and your customer will be able to read whatever you've put here. So in this case, I might say, you know what, I'm using all 3 of these, so I'm going to address all 3. All purchases of gift certificates or gift cards or products online are final sales. No refunds are available. And then I address the appointments. We require 48-hour advance notice of any cancellation or rescheduling of an online appointment. Failure to do so may result in a 25% charge. Again, you write whatever you want in here. maybe you're not going to use the gift certificates or the retail, it's just going to be appointments, so maybe just address that, etc. After you've written the terms and conditions, then the bottom message. Again, going back to that page, the bottom message is a simple, tiny line of text at the bottom of the page, and it can say anything you want it to say. In this case, I've written Pro Solution Software Inc., all rights reserved, 2013-2016. It can say anything. Some of the examples that I've seen might say something like, if you have any questions, please call, and then a telephone number, okay? Next, we've got the API login and the API transaction key. These are unnecessary for appointments online, and they are unnecessary for for your staff to check their schedules. However, if you are planning on selling gift certificates online or gift cards online or retail products online, then you must have these. You must have the API login and the API transaction key. And the way this works is this. You do not have to use our credit card processor, so I don't want you to think that you do. You can go with whichever credit card processor you'd like, as long as they work with Authorize.net online. And they all do. They really do. I mean, there might be a handful that don't, but the truth is that chances are whoever your processor is works with Authorize.net. That's what these are. Authorize.net is not a credit card processor. It is a payment gateway. And it is the gateway that we have chosen to use for the online store, so that when people pay with their credit card online, it gets charged. And well, it gets charged through Authorize.net. And when you create an Authorize.net account, you are assigned an API login and transaction key. So that's what you will put in. When you create your Authorize.net account for the spa, you will put in the login and the key here, and from that point forward, your customers will be able to use their credit cards to make purchases through those sites. Okay? All right. Moving on. And we'll get to that, by the way, later. You'll see exactly how that works. Again, if you're only going to be using it so that your staff can view their schedules or so that your customers can book appointments online, then you certainly do not need those. All right. So now we have our main image. Let's go back to the screen here. Let me shrink that down a little bit. Do you guys remember yesterday we talked about Darcy, and I talked about the social networking icons? Well, this is them. This is what they look like when Darcy sends an email out, for instance. This is precisely what they look like. And we'll be updating the Instagram one shortly because they recently changed their icon. But there's, Google Plus and Yelp and Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter, and then, of course, Instagram. Now, here it says main image. And I've got my topspa.png, and I can upload. Again, if you are uploading an installed version, you can use a PNG or a JPEG or a GIF or a TXT. If you are using the cloud version, you can only upload a JPEG. Okay? Just want you to be aware of that. Now, I click on Upload and Browse, and I can use any artwork that I have on my computer. So I'm going to, and of course we can supply you, by the way, with the specs for the banners so that you can make sure that it fits nicely. But I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to my Bella Renaissance top and open and upload. Takes about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and there it is. It's uploaded. Close that. And I'm going to upload a new side banner. Let's take a look at the side banner that's there now. It's the woman jumping, okay? So let me grab something a little bit different. I'm going to grab this foot here. There we go. And upload. And again, 1, 2, 3, and there you go. It's already uploaded. Close that. And my bottom banner. Browse, and I'm going to select my Bella Renaissance bottom and upload. And it's uploaded, and we'll close that. Now I'm going to save those changes that I've made. Let's take a look. So this is what we were looking at originally, and I'm going to refresh that, and there are the new banners that I just uploaded. Okay? So again, the customer is going to have a certain, obviously it's a template, but they're going to have a certain amount of control of the way it looks. So I'm going to go back into the software, and now I'm going to change my main color. The main color is the color behind the buttons and the banners. So this light blue here is currently the main color. I'm going to change that to a very light green. and my background color. That's this color that you see on the side here. Now you might look at that and think, you know what, that's a lot of wasted space. Let me go ahead and change that to a nice dark green. Save that. Let's move back here. Okay, so you might think that's a lot of wasted space. Well, the truth of the matter is that this has been designed to fit nicely on your smartphone, your iPhone or your Droid, etc. As long as you've got internet access, you're going to be able to use this just like an app, but it's a web page. And of course, on your smartphone, you could, for instance, have a link to it. So it's a single button, just like mine is. When I go to trade shows, for instance, and I'm showing this off, I whip out my phone and there's a button that might say something like Bella Renaissance. I click on it and it immediately takes me to the page. So let's refresh this so that we can see the color changes I made. There are the color changes I made. Let's go on back here. I'm going to skip these for a moment. We'll get back to them, but I'm going to go down here to my button colors and I'm going to change them from blue to green and save that and refresh. There we go. Okay, so now it's taken on a very different look. Again, the template is the same, but it's taken on a very different look. I want to show you something here. I'm going to go to DuncanEdward.com. So this is a hair salon. And if you click on appointments, this is what theirs looks like. Now, they're not using the same format for the banners that we recommend. But as you can see, this is their actual page, and this is their appointments online. It looks very similar to their page. So you're going to be able to, even though it's not exact and even though it's still following our template, you're going to be able to upload whatever you want in here to give it a look and feel that is more like your page. Okay, so get out of that. I just wanted to show you that so that you can understand what I mean when I say you're going to give it the look and feel of your website. Okay, and by the way, this is the actual page that we were just looking at on the Duncan Edward. This is to book their own appointments. But when you first do this, it doesn't say book now or products or gift certificates. It only says about, help, and contact. And why doesn't it say these three things? It doesn't say them because we haven't set them up yet. How do we set those up? We set them up here with these buttons. As soon as I click on one of these buttons, those buttons will appear online. But then we have to set them up, of course, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. Let's finish setting up our store. We have put in our colors. We have changed our button color. Now our font size. Everything that we write in here is going to be showing, and you're going to see that in just a moment as well. Our font size we leave as a default of 3. As you can see, it says standard size is 3. You might think that's very small because a lot of people have in their head that the standard default font size is 12. That's not necessarily the case, especially when you're dealing with a smartphone. 3 is what you want by default. However, if you want it a little bit bigger, a 4 is fine. 5 is starting to get too big, and 6 or higher, it's going to change the format. You don't want that. So I would recommend 3 or 4, nothing else. The 3 is already there for you. Next, the font name, Arial. That's the default, and we recommend that you leave it that. Arial is the most common font found on the internet, and the reason for that, it's very easy to read, okay? Even more common than Times New Roman. Arial is the most common, and that's why we use it. You don't have to use it. As long as you have the font installed on your computer, you can put the font name in there, as long as it's the exact font name, of any font you have installed on your computer, and that's the font that all of your text will be written in. Now, again, we choose Arial because it's very easy to read. You can get a little crazy. I've seen some people want to get really fancy, and so they make it calligraphic. Well, guess what? It looks terrible because nobody can read a darn thing on their page. So, you know, yeah, fancy schmancy, it looks bad. Stick with Arial. You'll be happy you did. Then we've got our font color. If your main color is light, then your font color should be dark. If your main color is dark, your font color should be light. You need that contrast in order to be able to read the words. If this was a dark purple and this was a black, it's going to be extremely hard to read. Same thing with if this was a light blue and this was yellow or white, it's going to be very hard to read. So, light main color, dark font color. Then our hyperlink. In fact, you know what? I'm going to make this light main color even lighter. Just lighten that up quite a bit. Choose that. There we go. All right. Then my hyperlink color. On the page, we have, let's go to our book now here, We've got hyperlinks. 2 of them I've never visited, help and lost password. And how do I know I've never visited them? Because they're the color of my hyperlink, which is this color right here. Next, I've got my previously visited link color, and I've chosen this burgundy. Remember how you do it. You just click on the color and choose something off of the template. So I've chosen that burgundy. And as you can see, these are that burgundy. That means I've already visited those links in the past. Let's go on back. My mouse over link color. When I bring my mouse over it, you'll notice they turn hot pink. Why? Because that's what I chose here. And then my active hyperlink, the link that I'm actually in, it'll be the same color that I chose for my hyperlink. Once I have put in my colors, so I've done all of this and I put in all of my colors, I press save. The whole thing is done now. Now all I need to do is actually put in the 3 features or any of those combination of that I want to actually use. So let's take a look. Let's start with appointments. I click on that and it brings me to this, set up online appointments window. Our welcome screen message. I've written this. If you have, and you write whatever you want. Again, this is a blank white square when you get it. If you have not yet registered, or if you have never visited our salon and spa, please be sure to register now. If you have already visited us at least once, or if you have already registered, please feel free to log right in. Okay, look, there it is. If you have not yet registered, blah, 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 blah. Exactly the same. Let's go back in here really quick, and I'm going to pick on Gail today, and I'm going to put Gail's name in here and save. And let's go back in here and refresh. And look, now it says Gail. Real easy. Any change you make is instantly reflected online. So let's head back here and delete Gail and save. And refresh, and Gail's name is gone. Next, create your free account. They don't have to if they've already done it, obviously. You're only going to do it once. But we click here, and now I can put in my first name, last name, address, etc. I can also assign myself a username and password, and then create the account. If I have already, what this does, by the way, is it actually creates a client file right in the software. If the customer has already visited the spa in the past, they already have a client file. So they can just click here. And they can put in their first name, last name, and email address and look up their account. And once again, they're going to be able to create their own username and password once they've looked up their account. So let's go back there. So you fill in this information, you hit create account, and then from that point forward, you are now able to use your username and password to log in. So your customer now, and I've done it for Michelle Babcock here, because I use her for everything. So I put in her username and password, and now I'm going to pretend that I am Michelle, and we're going to log in. Now it asks me to book your appointment. Choose a service group, and I'm going to choose hair or waxing or something like that. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I probably should have gone with waxing because not a lot of spas do hair. But then I'm going to choose a service, and I'm going to say a blow dry and curl. And then I get to choose from my list of stylists or therapists. And I'm going to say Debbie. And I get to choose a date. And I'm going to choose, well, today's September 30th. Let's move a little forward here. We'll go to October. We'll do Tuesday the 4th. And then check available times. This is all done by the customer on their smartphone or their tablet or on their computer at home. As long as they have internet access, they can do this. And all of it can be done with a fingertip. And I'm going to say 11 o'clock for my blow dry and curl with Debbie and continue to confirmation. So now it's telling me below are the services that you've chosen to be scheduled. Blow dry and curl at 11 a.m. on October 4th, 2016 with Debbie. Book appointment or add another service to my cart or start over. So book appointment, click. Services that have been scheduled for you. Blow dry and curl at 11 a.m. on October 4th, 2016. Thank you, Michelle, for booking with us today. We appreciate your loyalty. Notice it said Michelle because it knows that this is Michelle Babcock. So how did we get all of that to work? After we put in our welcome screen message and our confirmation message, congratulations, you have successfully booked your appointment online. You write whatever you want there. Cancellation policy, 48-hour advance notice is required. When we went through that process, I hope you noticed that those words were there. And then I've got this option, show prices or don't show prices. I had it to not show prices. If you want the base price of the services showing, you just make sure that that's blue. And then the standard default price of the service will appear next to the service name. Very helpful for the customers sometimes, but very unhelpful if you've got a lot of different prices for the same service. And you might say, well, why would you ever have that? Well, because you might have different employees that charge different prices for the very same service. It does happen. But if you've got that, I would recommend not showing the prices. But perhaps in my welcome screen message, it might say something to the effect of, depending on the staff member selected, prices may vary, something like that. Then I've got my hours in advance. What does this mean? The number of hours in advance that you put there. It could be a 0, could be a 1 or a 2 or a 3, or it could be a 12, whatever it is. But what does it mean? If it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I went to the spa's website because I wanted to book an appointment for a massage later today. If it's 8 o'clock in the morning, the very first option that I would be given, if it's available, would be 9 o'clock. Why? Because I've got a 1 there. If I had a 2 here, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning and the customer was going to book, the very first option they would be shown, if it was available, would have been 10 o'clock. What you're doing is you're advancing it so that somebody at 8 a.m. can't book an appointment for 8 a.m. or 8:05 or 8:10 or 8:15. And the reason for that, perhaps, is because the night before, you gave your staff member their schedule for the following day. And you don't want them to come walking in at 9 when somebody just booked themselves an appointment for 8 o'clock. So maybe you say, okay, look, I want at least a 2-hour gap between the time that people are booking and the first available appointment. There's different reasons why you might do it. But again, I'm going to put this back to a 1. That's hours in advance. Max days out. Generally, you're going to leave that as a 0, which means that somebody booking, let's say at 8 o'clock this morning, could book for later on today, like 1 o'clock this afternoon, or 10 o'clock this morning, or something like that, sure. But if I put a 1 here, then it's doing the same thing as the hours in advance, except it's by a whole day. So if I put a 1 here, then the first available option would be tomorrow. If I put a 2 there, the first available option would be the day after tomorrow, if those options are in fact available. But by having it as a 0, then the first available option will be today at some point, if it's available. Cancellation policy. This number, your customers can actually go online and unbook their own appointments. And some places don't like that. So what I've said is I've made my cancellation policy here match what my actual verbiage cancellation policy is. This says 2 days. Well, even though my verbiage might say 48-hour advance notice is required, I might put a 30 here, which means that if it's within 30 days, my customer cannot unbook their own appointment. Or maybe a 10 here, which means if it's within 10 days. The purpose being, I'm going to force them to call me. I don't want them to be able to do it online because I want to be notified, okay? So, but I went ahead and I just made it the same as my 48-hour advance notice, and that's my number 2 here. Booking color, the color that the appointment will actually appear in when it appears online, when somebody books it online. And it will have the word web next to it on your appointment book. So it's going to be really easy to see. And then only book on the, I've got these options, hour, half hour, quarter hour, 10-minute, or 5-minute. So let's say that Lydia is available from 12 to 5 tomorrow. And I've selected only book on the hour. Okay, so when the customer wants Lydia, they could get her at 12 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. She leaves at 5, so 5 is not an option. So they get those 5 options, 12, 1, 2, 3, or 4, because she's wide open. She doesn't have any appointments booked during that time. Okay? If I said on the half hour, then they would be given these options, 12 and 12:30, 1 and 1:30, 2 and 2:30, etc., all the way to 4:30. Again, on the 15-minute, the quarter hour, they would be given the option of 12, 12:15, 12:30, 12:45, 1, 1:15, etc. So it starts to become a little bit cumbersome. But some customers absolutely demand to be able to squeeze things in. When I say customers, I mean some spas demand that we allow them to squeeze things in. So they want the 10-minute or the 5-minute option. I think it's crazy. You realize that in a 5-hour time frame where no appointments are scheduled, if you put it on the hour, your customer will see 5 options. If you put it on the half hour, they will see 10 options. On the quarter hour, they will see 20 options. No, 30, excuse me. No, it's 20, that's right. On the 10, 30 options. And on the 5, 60 options. I mean, it's ridiculous. For a 5-hour day, you're given 60 different options to choose from to book your appointment. But, you know, some customers want that, so it's up to you. We recommend the hour or the quarter, or the half hour. I like to go with the hour. Then we've got our operators. This is a list of all of our staff that provide services. Every staff member that provides service is listed here. Notice it says here, select which operators, groups, and or services will be restricted from online booking. So if you put a check next to their name, they cannot have appointments booked for them. If there is an empty box next to their name, they can have online appointments booked for them. So remember, the check is a restriction. Then we come down here to our groups. If they have a check next to them, they cannot be booked online. And the individual services, if they have a check next to them, they cannot be booked online. So I might say massages are available to be booked online. That's why it's not checked. However, certain massages, like the physical therapy 30 and the shiatsu 30 and the Swedish 30, cannot be booked online. Why did I choose those? No good reason. I'm just telling you. And then once I have set my restrictions, I press save. And that is how this has worked. And you'll notice our 48-hour advance notice is required, etc. I want to show you something else too. I'm going to open up my email real quick. Minimize that. I also want to show you in the actual software. Let's exit out of that, save the whole kit and caboodle, and exit out of that. So this says blow, dry, and curl at 11 a.m. at October 4th, 2016 for Michelle Babcock. So let's take a look, shall we? Let's go to the book. And let's go to October 4th. And there's Debbie at 11 o'clock, Michelle Babcock for a blow, dry, and curl. And it's that bright yellow we chose, and the word web is next to it. So it worked beautifully. The customer went in, registered, or didn't need to because they've already done so, put in their username and password, and went through the process of booking themselves an appointment. And there it is on the spa's appointment book. Now, we can go ahead and take a look at something else I wanted to show you. This is an email that the customer would have received. The customer, the one who booked it online, would have received an email that looks something like this. It uses your top banner, and it says, thank you for taking the time to book with us today. Below are the bookings you have made. Blow, dry, and curl at 11 a.m. on October 4th, 2016 with Debbie. Thank you. We hope you had a wonderful, relaxing time with us. 48-hour advance notice is required, or a 25% fee will be charged. There it is. That's what the customer actually receives from the spa, from the Darcy system in the spa, actually. But there it is. Online scheduling and Pro Solution software is where this one came from. It would normally come from something like, it might say online scheduling at darcy.mobi.com, or even the name of the resort spa. So it might say something like IQSpa Resort Spa at darcy.mobi.com. Okay? So it doesn't have to say Pro Solutions, so don't worry about that. Okay, we'll log out of that. And I don't have that set up, so that's fine. Let's just back up. There we go. Okay, now let's take a look at our next one. By the way, are there any questions at all on setting up the appointments online or using it? The customer experience or the spa's experience? No? Okay, moving on. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the selling of gift cards or gift certificates. It's really painfully simple. The only thing you need to do here, again, click on the button and it's activated. And now you could have pre-created packages that you offer, gift certificate packages. And you might say, well, where would we have done that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to go to Setup, Configuration, Gift Certificates, Packages. And this is where I can do it. So I'm going to pick on another one of you. Let's see, who do I want to pick on today? We'll pick on Mike Ryan. So the package name is going to be the Mike Ryan package. And the package description. A loamy scrub followed by a European facial and a Swedish massage. And of course you can get as fancy as you want here. Put in my code for it. A code, by the way, is going to be any single character. It doesn't matter what it is. Make that code M. And my price. And I'm going to say that this is $300. And it's available for sale online. Or not. Or it is. And accept. The gift package already is. Gosh darn it. Do you want to make these changes? Sure, let's do it. Okay. So, done. Let's go back in here. Whoops. Let's go back here. That's all there was, by the way, to setting up a gift certificate or gift card package. And by the way, you don't have to set them up. They don't have to be there at all. And look, the Mike Ryan package is here. And it's got a little check mark next to it because this is going to be available online. These two are not. But it could have been an empty box here with nothing to check, and that's just fine. You don't have to do gift certificate packages. You can do it just by dollar amount. So what do you have to do here on this window? What you have to do is do shipping methods. I've got 3 right now. I've got EBIT shipping, email, and FedEx overnight. I'm going to delete these. Super simple to delete. Look, done. Email, delete. FedEx overnight, delete, and save. Now I no longer have shipping methods, but I need some. So now I'm going to show you how to make shipping methods. We go in here, gift certificates or gift cards, and we type in the name of a shipping method. I'm going to create one called email, and I'm going to say the charge for an email is nothing, and add. Guess what I just did? I just created a shipping method. Super simple. Let's make another one. I'm going to call this the Montgomery shipping. And I'm going to say that's $15. And add. There you go. And one more, FedEx overnight. And I'll say that's $20. And add. Now that I've got some shipping items in there, and I could have put in maybe a $2.50 one for USPS first class or something like that, it doesn't matter. But once I've got them all in there, then I can actually use the page. Remember, I must have my API login and API transaction key. But let's take a look. We're going to go to our page, and we're going to go to gift certificates. And now we can start filling this out. Recipient first name. So this is now my customer experience. And they did not need to register for this like they did for appointments online. Because I may not be a member of your spa or have ever visited your spa. Maybe I don't even live in the same city or state as your spa. But my mother does, and I would like to get a gift certificate for her and send it to her. So recipient first name, Dina Wiggins. That's my wife, not my mother. And enter amount, I'll say $100. Or I could have chosen a gift package. The Mike Ryan package is there for $300. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going with a dollar amount. And then my personal message. Congrats on being married to me. And now I've got some options here. Ship it to myself, ship it to a recipient, or print it out today. I would like to use my email shipping for myself. It's going to send to me. And I've chosen email instead of shipping. And continue. So these are the current gift cards or gift certificates in your shopping cart. Dina Wiggins, gift card, $100. Add another certificate to my order or proceed. Proceed. Now I can put in the credit card information. Now, of course, I don't actually have real API login information or transaction key information, so I can't do this. But your customer would fill this information out, and after they have filled this out, they can hit process. Once their card has been accepted, then they receive an email. And that email actually has the gift certificate on it. They can then forward that if they wanted to anyone in the world, including their mother or their wife. Happy birthday, Mom. Here's a gift certificate to your favorite spa. It is a direct interface with the software. What that means is that when somebody purchases a gift certificate online, they could print it out a moment later and walk right into the spa and use it. The spa does not have to be notified that it has been done because it's a direct interface. The spa is already aware. The software is already aware who bought it, who they bought it for, the value, and the number. So somebody buys one in-house, great. Somebody buys one online, great. They can walk right in and use it a moment after they've made the purchase. Okay. We'll talk more about actually using gift certificates when we cover the point of sale, which will be our next class. Appointment booking and point of sale, by the way, are going to be the next class. Okay, so what if you're not using paper certificates? What if you are using gift cards? Well, obviously, a customer cannot print out a gift card. So you wouldn't have email as a method of shipping. You would just have something like USPS First Class or FedEx Overnight or something like that. And then your customer can either leave this information here because they want it shipped to that same information, or they could check here, please ship to a different address. And they can put that information in. In the software now, something does have to be done. Remember, if they printed out the certificate at home, they can walk right in and use it. There is nothing that the spa people have to do to make that certificate work. But if they are asking for a shipped gift card, then there is something that has to be done. And here in the point of sale, an alert will pop up that lets you know that an online gift card purchase has just been made. So now the user at the spa can click on that, and all the information will be there. Who bought it, who they bought it for, the dollar amount, even a shipping label will be there as well. And then they can pull one of their blank cards out of their box, and there is a button that says process. They hit process, and they swipe the card and they hit process. And when they do that, all of that information is now associated with that card. They can print out the mailing label, or they could just write the information down, and they can ship that card out to whomever ordered it. And when that customer, of course, chose their method of shipping, that became part of what they paid for when they used their gift card, their credit card online. So all the money's already on its way to the spa's bank or the hotel's bank, and you have just shipped the card out to the client. When they receive it, of course, now they can use it. So it may be a day delayed or a few days delayed based on their method of shipping. But it's different than printing out a paper certificate at home. Okay? All right. Let's go on back here. So any questions on gift card or gift certificate purchases online before we continue? No questions. Okay, you guys are easy today. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is products online, retail online. So let's go back to our online page here, and let's talk about retail. So here's our setup retail page. And remember, there's that URL. So I've got my setup retail here. And the first thing it says is please select 10 items to be featured on your retail web page. Now, Eric showed you a couple of days ago how to set up inventory, how to get your products in. And they've all got their own SKU numbers. So you're going to put in up to 10 SKU numbers. Now, I've only put in 6. But you could put in up to 10 SKU numbers of the products that you want featured. Now, all that means is that these are the first products your customers are going to see. It doesn't mean that those are the only ones they can buy. They can buy anything you have put into your system as long as you offer it for sale online. And how do you do that? Well, in the actual inventory feature here, we've got something like my Cameo Just an All-in-One. Notice it says right here, sell online. If that is checked, this product can be sold online. It's that simple. And save. All right, so let's head on back here. Let's go to our retail here. You put in your SKUs. Maybe you're just going to have one featured item a month, so you change it every month. So it's just one SKU number. Or maybe you're going to do 10, like you can. Or maybe you're going to do 6, like I did, etc. Then I've got my shipping per item. I've said it's $2.50. So if somebody orders one of these items, they're going to get charged an additional $2.50 on top of the price of the product. But if they ordered 3 of those, they would get charged $7.50 because it's $2.50 per item that they order. Then I've got my manufacturers. This again is restriction. If you put a check next to them, that is a manufacturer that will not be sold online. Those that are unchecked, you can sell online. Those that are checked, you cannot. And you might say to yourself, well, why would you have things that you don't want sold online? It may not be up to you. A lot of times, the manufacturers of products say, because of diversion, you cannot sell our products online. And other manufacturers have some products that can be sold online and others that can't. A great example, for instance, is L'Oreal products. Most L'Oreal products you can find in places like Rite Aid or Walgreens or Target or Walmart. Easy. And that's called diversion. However, L'Oreal says that they have another line of products called Kerastase. And Kerastase products are extremely exclusive. They can only be sold in salon. You cannot buy a Kerastase product outside of a salon, or at least you're not supposed to be able to. And so the salons are not permitted to offer them online either. So you have to find out from your manufacturers whether or not they allow, because if you are selling products online that are not permitted to be sold online, you can be stripped of the ability to sell that product altogether. I know that L'Oreal and Paul Mitchell do some things like that. Some of their products are they're very, very jealous of their products, and some of them require that they be sold only in salon to make them exclusive, and spa, of course. Okay, so moving on. I've got, for instance, Sebastian, I've said, cannot be sold online, and Rusk cannot be sold online, but Paul Mitchell can, and Vavoom can, etc. Then I move down to my categories. Remember when Eric showed you how to put your inventory in? He talked to you about categories, hopefully. So here I've got my different categories. Those that cannot be sold online are checked. Those that can be sold online are unchecked. And then if I want, I can even go by individual manufacturers like Paul Mitchell and say, yeah, these 3 products can be sold online, but this one can't. So I've got it checked. Once I've set that up, I hit save. And as long as I've got my API login and transaction key, I'm done. People can now make purchases of products online. Let's make this a little bigger so you can see it a little better. These are my 6 featured items. Notice this one does not have an image. Well, how did I get the images in there? Go to inventory. Look, there's a button here that says upload image. So here's my Justin All-in-One shampoo, upload image, just like all the others, 500K or less, GIF, JPEG, text, or PNG if installed, but if cloud, JPEG only, just like all the others. You just upload it right from your computer. And you might say, well, wait a minute, right from my computer, I don't have an image of that product on my computer. Well, that's what Google's for, everybody. You just go right in here and you can say something like, Paul Mitchell shampoo and images. Find the one you're looking for. Click. Here's my Paul Mitchell Blonde, Platinum Blonde shampoo. Right click, save my image to wherever it is I want to save it. And then, once it's saved on my computer, well then I can upload it. And I can browse to that place on my computer that I just dumped it. And if it doesn't meet the criteria, then I can make a quick change with anything like Photoshop or even Paint. Okay, so there's lots of simple and easy ways to do that. All right, moving on. Let's, whoops, go back here. All right, so I've got my products. These are my featured products. But what if I wasn't looking at featured product? I want to look at all of my Paul Mitchell products. So I click on Paul Mitchell, and there are the 3 that I allowed to be sold online. Obviously, they don't have images. Or I want to look at all of the shampoos, so now I'm going by category. So I click on shampoo, and every shampoo that I offer is going to be shown here. And once the customer finds the thing they want, let's quickly go back to our featured items. I'm going to go to my TG Cat Root Boost here, and I want to be able to purchase this product. So I click on it, and product status in stock, category, manufacturer is TG, category is a finisher, description, this product is for root coloring treatments and not to be used on oily hair. EBIT. What the heck does that mean? Well, let's go on in here and let's take a look. Let's look up that product, shall we? Click on my lookup here, and this is my cat root. So I just type in root, hit start search, find everything that has that in it. There it is. There's my TG Cat Root Boost. So let's take a look at that. And there it is. Long product description for online. This product is for root coloring treatments and not to be used on oily hair. I'm going to get rid of EBIT, and I'm going to replace that with Lydia. And save. And refresh. Once again, the important thing to note here, it's a little bit slow, but there it is. And notice it says Lydia. In other words, whatever you write in your software is instantly going to be available to your customers online. And if you run out of that product, let's take a look at that product again. Should have just left it there. There it is. Whoops, there it is. I've got 11 of them. But if it said I had 0, then this would have said out of stock. And one of the things that you may want to have in at your home or in your store or right up here is the fact that things that are out of stock may take longer to deliver. Like, I don't know, maybe you could say may take as long as 2 weeks to deliver because you've got to order it, get it in before you can ship it out. But obviously, if it's in stock, you can just grab it off the shelf, stick it into one of your one-size-fits-all boxes, and off it goes. Okay? So we want to add this now to our, the customer, the end user, wants to add this to our shopping cart. Now, they can keep shopping. Or they could check out now. And once again, because you have your API login and transaction key, they can use their credit card. And they can put in their information, and then they can proceed to confirmation. If they want it shipped somewhere else, they check here, and they put in a different address here, and they proceed to confirmation. Once again, in the software, you're just happily doing business, and all of a sudden, boom, an alert appears that says an online purchase of product has just been made. You click on that, and just like with the gift card, it shows you what was purchased, who purchased it, and it gives you a shipping label. You can then take those products off of your shelf, stick them into the box, put the shipping label off, and off it goes. And when you hit process, it removes all of those items from your inventory. You didn't have to process the sale because they already paid for it online. And that's it. Any questions on that? No questions. That's the online store, guys. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's Lori. So it looks like it can do a lot, and it's really quite slick in that way. I'm just wondering about the look of it. Like if you go to the store, are you guys planning on updating the look of it anytime soon, or it's?
Well, again, it looks an awful lot better if you've got your images in here. Without those images, It looks a little stark. But certainly the color scheme and the banners, et cetera, are going to be there based on what the customer uploads. So, I mean, I don't think that we have any current plans on adjusting its look.
Okay. And what about if we could we look at it from a phone?
Well, that's the whole point. That's why it's shaped the way it is.
Yeah, I know. Do you have an example that we could go and search?
You could go to this link. I could email you this link, and you could just go to it on your smartphone.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just curious to see what it looks like on the phone or tablet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or whatever.
going to sound a little bit silly, but these are some, this is the way it usually comes across. And don't forget, on a phone, let me just make this a little bigger. There we go. On a phone, you can pinch, and so you can increase the size of things to look at whether you're booking an appointment online or if you are purchasing a product, etc. You can do it right from your smartphone. And yes, we actually have apps now, so you can do it through the website, or you could do it through an optimized app. The optimized app is a $350 one-time charge for the spa, but it is free, of course, to all of their customers. And they can download it from Google Play or from the Apple App Store. Now, the reason that I haven't mentioned that yet is because the actual app for Google Play is available now. The actual app for the Apple App Store is not. And because we're still waiting for Apple to approve it, with Google, I love Google. They just say, oh, you made an app, post it. With Apple, they say, oh, you made an app, it's going to have to jump through all of our hoops, and then we'll post it for you.
We have that pain too, Matt.
Yeah. So we're still waiting for Apple to approve it. Because half the people out there are using Apple, the other half are using Google. The truth is that we have not offered it yet to our customers until Apple is available. That way we can say now it's available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Right now it is technically available on Google Play, but we just haven't told anybody about it. But it is there, and they can do it, but they don't need to do it as an app. That was my point. They can do it right as a web page. Now you have a question. I'm sorry.
No, I have actually two questions, only because this is relative to the client that Josh will be going on site to next week. So our client, Taos Ski Valley, has purchased the spa, and they also have purchased our IQ Guest mobile app. And on the IQ Guest mobile app, there's a section where you can book services. Do you know if we have any plans to do integration between our two?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You would need to talk to, I think that's Francois on your end and Brent on our end. And Brent's email address is brentw@prosolutionssoftware.com. He's the head of development. He's also my brother and one of the owners, and he does all integrations. So if there's going to be anything like that, you must speak with him. I wouldn't have the foggiest idea.
Okay, and then just another one, and you may redirect me to Brent for this one too, is can the page be iframed into somebody else's website?
Again, something that you're going to have to speak to. Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I know that they're very excited about getting spa.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget that each one of these, whether it's appointments online or products online or gift certificates online, these have their own separate URLs. So those URLs can be converted into a button on your web page, just like I showed you with Duncan Edward, for instance. When we went to duncanedward.com, they have an appointments button here. When you click on it, it takes you to their version of the appointments online. And go to the store, and there's their store. They only have Book Now available. So, I mean, again, the look and feel is going to be very different based on each location, even though technically it's a template. But look how different that looks to this. This is the same page. This is the front page of Appointments Online for Bella Renaissance. This is the front page of Appointments Online for Duncan Edward. They couldn't look different, I mean more different, and yet they're following the same template. Okay? Any other questions? No? Okay, then I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for spending the time with me today. And Lydia, if you'd like to schedule the next appointment, you just give me your best time and day, or give me a couple of times and days, and I will respond with one that I can do, and I will send you out the necessary links.
Okay. I was almost thinking maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, only because after Tuesday, I lose almost all of my implementation staff. Everybody goes on the road, so I was hoping to get in one more session before everybody leaves.
Let's take a look here. Let me pull up my calendar. We'll just do it right now while we've got people on the phone, and they can tell you, no, that's a horrible idea.
And we'll just keep recording them and send the links to the people who can't make it. But
In fact, I'm going to
But
stop.
the next